A very good day to Pansaliza and our fellow classmates. My name is Davina, and today me, Keshyini and Shobhanaa will be presenting about the fermentation process in bread rolls.
1 egg, butter, flour, milk, yeast, sugar and salt.
Firstly, add sugar into lukewarm milk as well as yeast. Then, mix until well combined. After that, cover it with a cloth and let it sit for 15 minutes.
After 15 minutes, remove the cloth and observe.
Then, pour in the mixture into a mixing bowl and add flour, salt, eggs, sugar, and mix until well combined. Later, add the butter, and this is how the dough will look like. Knead it with your hands and cover it with a plastic wrap. As you can see, the dough has doubled in size. Punch the dough and add it to a floured surface. Roll it out and cut it into 8 pieces and let it sit for 15 minutes with a towel covered. Finally, bake it at 170 degrees for 25 minutes and we're done. Taste test.
This is wonderful. Get one free now in Lazada.
What is fermentation? Fermentation is the incomplete breakdown of glucose in limited or no oxygen condition. What role does zymase play in the process of fermentation?
Zymase in yeast, which carries out fermentation of glucose, produces alcohol, releases energy and carbon dioxide.
With the chemical equation below.
How does yeast react to the dough in the oven?
The alcohol produced during fermentation evaporates, the yeast dies due to high temperature in the oven, the gluten hardens and the dough solidifies. Wondering why you need yeast? Well, to generate flavor, act as a leavening agent, and for nutritional value. Question number 2. What happens when we leave yeast in milk? Outer dry yeast moistens in the milk, allowing the living yeast inside to begin feeding on the sugar and reproduce.
Why do we use lukewarm milk instead of boiled milk or cold milk?
Well, if it's too hot, it will kill the yeast, and if it's too cold, it will take a longer time to activate. The best range is between 105 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit.
What is the optimum pH and temperature for zymase? The optimum pH for zymase is pH 6, while the optimum temperature for zymase is 35 degrees Celsius. Why do we need to cover the yeast mixture with a cloth? The purpose of covering bread dough with a cloth while it is rising is to create a condition of limited oxygen to the yeast. Under this limited oxygen condition, yeast is forced to undergo the process of fermentation. What are the uses of end products of alcohol fermentation? The end products of alcohol fermentation by yeast are ethanol, which can be used in wine and beer production, and carbon dioxide, which causes the dough to rise during bread making.
Question number 8. What are the conditions the yeast needs to grow? Yeast needs moisture, warmth, food, and nutrients.
In conclusion, in the absence of oxygen, yeast undergoes alcohol fermentation to produce carbon dioxide, ethanol, and energy.